Finger off the lens.
I got it.
Okay, Ethan, I need you to guide the thing. This guy's head seems to be stuck. Come around this way because we're going to have to guide his head down. Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna stretch them here. Okay, go, like this. Okay, go. Now, push it down. Push him down. Put his head down. Okay, wait. You know what? Can you hold the bars? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do like this. Can you move it like this? Okay. There we go. Now push it back. There we go.
Damn cute animal.
Oh, yeah.
Do that again.
Finger off the lens.
I want to just.
Okay, Ethan.
I want to point out the obvious here before we get too far into this stream. Call me a baby. Call me immature. Won't be the first. Certainly won't be the last time. Do you see how big the balls on that goat are? Oh my goodness. I don't understand how they walk around. I saw one goat. This is that Strawberry Girls You Pick strawberry place in Florida. Look at the size of those things. How do they walk around with that? My goodness gracious. Big. That was our daily adventure yesterday at why is oh great. Now people are going to think I'm like trying to play games. I got a clock from a fan in the mail. Thank you very much. I don't know how it got to be 1 hour off. Great. I'm going to block it the entire time now. Good to have a clock in the background so that, people can have a specific date and time of when you said something. And if they try to pull like a rock bottom Homer Simpson type edit, take things out of context, you got your evidence right there. For the record, I don't know why the heck that's 1 hour behind. Good evening, everybody. Are we live? Are we good? And are we well? Let me make sure before we go anywhere. We're live on Rumble. Very nice. We're live on vivabarneslaw.locals.com where everybody is good, and above average. Holy crab apples. It's going to be another show tonight, people. It's like, it's going to go nuts between now and 2024. Politically, legally, social media-y. I don't know who's on Twitter these days, but we're going to talk about some of the recent drama. Perhaps Elon Musk is playing four-dimensional chess with James Woods, or perhaps Elon Musk, occasionally has, what's the word? An intempestive? Perhaps occasionally Elon Musk gets offended, replies to a tweet in a manner that indicates he's offended, and things go downhill from there. We'll get there in a second, people. We'll get there in a second. Before we do anything tonight, we're going to get into some of the Twitter wars. And we're starting off with, a fun saving a goat. It got its antlers stuck in a fence because the fence flexed and that thing got, wedged its horns in and spread the fence and then got stuck with its head between the fence. Hopefully the staff that were watching me free the goat, will remedy that for the future. You saw that this stream, it said it contains a paid sponsorship, which it does, people. A sponsorship that I use. Last week, I did a Genucel product called ProVair for thickening hair, regrowing hair. You all know I don't have a problem with that just yet. And in as much as it's a good product and people should use it, I don't need that one just yet, nor do I use it. What I do use, people, because it's a very good, healthy habit to get into, fieldofgreens.com. There's this thing called powdered greens that are all the rage these days. Desiccated greens. Most of you don't know you're supposed to have 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And just so you know, iceberg lettuce doesn't count. Iceberg lettuce is useless. It has no nutrients. It's as good as waste if you think you're eating a nice iceberg wedge blue cheese salad. Oh, I have my vegetables. That doesn't count. Okay, today, for example, I had a lot of vegetables. Romaine lettuce, tomatoes, avocado with a little bit of dressing, and I had that for lunch. You're supposed to have 5 to 7 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every day. Most people do not do that. In fact, most people are very, very unhealthy. I say this non-judgmentally. We live in a world now where the Lizzos get praised as, forget beauty, as normal and healthy. When it's not normal, people are supposed to be healthy. You're supposed to exercise. You're supposed to eat well. You're supposed to have a BMI that doesn't put undue stress on your heart. And enough of this politically correct garbage. I don't think you should shame people, but we should not normalize unhealthy behavior. 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and most people do not have that. Especially when you're traveling, as I will be. Let me just take this out. Milwaukee, for the Rumble exclusive live stream. I got press credentials. I'm going to have a 1 hour at the booth at Milwaukee on Wednesday. Set that aside. Bring it back to the sponsor here. Let's do this. When you travel, it's virtually impossible to get healthy fruits and vegetables when you're on the road, whatever. So Field of Greens, desiccated, powdered, pulverized fruits and vegetables with all of the antioxidants, all of the good stuff. It's not an extract. It's not a supplement. It's a food. It's USDA organic. It's approved. It's made in America. 1 spoonful twice a day is 2 servings of fruits and vegetables with all of the goodies. And that's all it takes. It tastes good. It looks like swamp water because swamp water is rich in nutrients and vitamins. And it's fantastic. Fieldofgreens.com, promo code VIVA for 15% off your first order. Did I mention I'm going to Milwaukee for the Rumble exclusive online streaming of the primaries? I think I might have been a little bit too mean to Chris Christie in my tweet, so I don't think he'll sit down for an interview with me. We'll see. I think I might have been a little too mean to Mike Pence at some points in time. We'll see. Vivek, I have yet to be too mean with, because I think he hasn't given the world reason to call him out for being a lamentable political creature. You know the old expression, politics? It comes from the word poly, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking parasites. It's going to be fun, so stay tuned for that. I head there Tuesday. Then they have the event Wednesday. I've got 1 hour at the Rumble streaming booth on Wednesday, 1 o'clock. So I'll be doing something exclusive live there. And then the evening event, and it's going to be glorious. Now, before we get into the standard stuff, Dostalav Akt Mankari. $1 super chat. No medical advice, no legal advice, no election fortification advice. When you see those highlighted comments called super chats, YouTube takes 30% of that. If you don't like that and you want to support the channel, you can go to Rumble, where they have Rumble rants, and Dostalav Akt Mankari has been there as well. I'll just bring these up so that we can see them. Rumble typically takes 20% of their Rumble rants. Now they take 0% for the rest of the year. 2024, they'll go back to it. Here we go. Tetsuko, why didn't Robert Rico Suave Barnes get indicted in Georgia? I don't think he was official counsel of record. Also, I don't know. Well, I'll ask him. I think that's the answer. Or maybe they're just smart and don't indict, the lawyer who's going to burn down the house of this corrupt house of cards. Mandkari says, being necessary. Okay, then we got had the founders foreseen the future, they would have written a very different Second Amendment. A well-protected public being necessary to protect a free state, the duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced. Okay, we got a good show tonight. But before we get into the good show tonight, this is the question, people. It's either 4D chess or everyone has a day where they do something stupid on Twitter, even if it's Elon. For those of you who have not been following the news or the drama, it was yesterday or the day before, Elon says, we're going to get rid of we're going to get rid of the block feature on Twitter. It's useless. Or he says, it serves no purpose. Something along those lines. I'll get the tweet in a second. People freak out, some righteously, some not so righteously, say, if you do this, it's the end of it, I'm leaving. Even conservatives with big accounts say, I need, the block button is very useful in preventing brigades, in stopping targeted harassment. Basically, the idea was widely admonished, I think would be the right word, condemned, criticized. It was ratioed, as we say in the industry. There was a fact check that says you can't even remove the block function on an app if it's going to be available on, I think it's Apple, whatever the App Store is, or Google Play. You can't remove the block feature for safety reasons. So maybe, I don't know if that's true. I think it is true. And maybe Elon didn't know it and he got embarrassed. Who knows? Okay. So everybody gets a little angry. Now make sure that I get the right one. Here we go. Then James Woods. You may remember James Woods as the greatest cameo voice in all of animated television history. Started with The Simpsons. Best character of all time on The Simpsons. Then he did the voice cameo on Family Guy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, he's fantastic. He's also a very outspoken conservative actor in Hollywood. Or former, I guess, because Hollywood chases the people out once they come out with their... You can be a potatophile, you can be a groper, you can be a sexual deviant in Hollywood. That's fine. That might even get you an Oscar. Come out as a conservative, you're going to be unemployed. Chuck Woolery, John Voight, James Woods. So James Woods, is a damn cool guy, in as much as you can think you know someone who you've never met before who comes out of Hollywood. He comes out in response to Elon Musk and says, "Thank you. If Elon Musk removes the ability to block concerted harassment by trolls or organized political enemies, how will, quote, X be any different from Jack Dorsey's horrid Twitter? Musk, whom I once championed, is only doing this to protect his advertisers anyway." This is an interesting theory, which I had not thought about until I saw this tweet. "Users of X are mere pawns to turn the site into an electronic shopping mall. The man who I thought was a defender of free speech is just another greedy capitalist. Disappointing, but not surprising." I hadn't thought about this because I know that some people systematically block ads. And if you systematically block ads, it's not necessarily good for advertiser revenue. I mute ads. I to this day, have not blocked one person on Twitter. I mute them. If I think that their tweet violates the rules, I report the tweet. And if Twitter comes back and says it doesn't violate the rules, okay, well, then they get to speak. Even on my feed, I don't have to see their crap. The freedom of speech does not mean the freedom to compel me to hear stupidity, but other people can bask in their collective stupidity. But some people, feel the need to block, and it's understandable. James is actually also quite funny when he blocks, for those of you who don't know. All right. So that's what he did. He tags Elon Musk. I'm not going to get the bloody things because it doesn't. Give me 1 second. Yeah, when you use Twitter on incognito, it doesn't allow you to. So then Elon Musk replies to. Oh, can we do this here? I think we can do it like that. So then Elon Musk replies to James Woods and then says, "Then delete your account," which is a very, I don't know, man. Sometimes you have to think that it's meant tongue in cheek. Then delete your account. Haha, like you'd say it to him in real life. Well, why don't you delete your account then? And it comes off just much ruder, much more sassy on Twitter. And that's the problem with Twitter. Some might say by design. I happen to have thought that reply from Elon Musk to James Woods, and I like James Woods, and he gets the benefit of the doubt. I thought that was a little bit too sassy. To which I say, telling James Woods to delete his account for his valid criticism of your proposed policy is a pretty good way to burn lots of goodwill for no good reason. I think there's an extra hyphen in there for goodwill that I don't need. It's actually very un-Elon in as much as I think I can know Elon on the internet. But I won't go so far as to suggest that Linda Yaccarino, the new CEO of Twitter, or not the CEO, I'm sorry. What is she? Is she the CEO or CFO? Doesn't say what it is there. Whatever. I won't say that she's replying on his behalf. I might think it, but I won't say it yet. Hardy har har. All right, well, that's all fun and games. You know what ends up happening? Elon then goes on to block James Woods. Where is it? Where is it? Get it? Elon Musk, real James Woods. How am I so stupid that I can't find the bloody thing? He blocks him. And then James Woods shares the tweet and says he's blocked. Some people out there are hypothesizing that it's a 4D level chess move. Elon, knowing that he's going to do without the block feature on Twitter, which I don't know how he's going to do, if indeed it is a requirement for Apple and Google App Store, then blocks James Woods. Some people say he's just proving how useless it is as a feature. And then in a few days from now, he's going to remove it and yada, yada, yada. I don't think so. And I don't understand what's going on in the world right now where it's ringing of COINTELPRO type creating division within sides that should not be unified in allyship, if that's not a word, but sides that should be ideologically aligned for a greater battle right now. Where within, the GOP primaries, you have massive, serious infighting between various camps, ugly, dirty infighting, to the point that when a lawyer of one of the Trump former team gets indicted, but because that lawyer happens to be supporting the DeSantis side and maybe being a little sassy with the Trump side, well, then people say, you're on your own, fend for yourself, tough noogies, tough crap. Now you got Elon Musk fighting with James Woods on Twitter, And people say, yeah, no, it's just, a lot of people who should not be fighting among each other are fighting among each other. It almost seems by design. It almost seems very convenient. And, well, that's all I have to say about that. I like James Woods. I would love to have a sidebar, an interview, a lunch with James Woods. James, if you're watching, if you're in Florida, we have nice studios at Locals. All right, so that's the gossip. That's what's going on with Twitter. But something is up with Elon. He puts out a tweet yesterday saying, I called it a persuasion tweet, like, oh, it's a shame that social media companies, tend to, fail. We'll do our best here, as if he's priming us for failure. Then starts an absolutely unnecessary war with a man who does not deserve it. This is not like going after, Jake Tapper. That might not be the best example right now. It's not like going after George Takei. He's going after James Woods for no good reason. Elon acting like a jackass. Viva having trouble getting wood. No, okay. Damn it, I'm an idiot. Where is Barnes? Hold on one second. I know Barnes has the link. I sent it to him, but let me send it to him by email again. But not before we do one thing. I'm going to send. Oh, Barnes right in the backdrop. Oh, Barnes, give me. Okay, well, not before do. I have two things in the backdrop. Got to do it. Not George Takei. Go after George Takei. What the hell is wrong with these people? I don't understand what's going on. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. George Takei literally yesterday, or was it yesterday? Yeah, no, it was today. What day is it today? Unacceptable. Posts a link to this GOP lawmaker sues news reporter. No. He posted the same thing literally yesterday. Unacceptable. He posted literally the same thing 5 days ago. And I don't know if they're robots. I don't know if people on Twitter are robots. And it's not just her, not just him. Who do we got here? Nina Turner. I don't know who Nina Turner is, although I follow her now. Every week should be a 4-day week. Okay, that was yesterday. Good morning. Every week should be a 4-day, 32-hour work week. That was August 14th. That was 2 weeks ago. No, that was a week ago. The 4-day, 32-hour work week is possible. That was 18 days ago. I wonder if we've just ended up in a world now where we think we're engaging with real people on Twitter, but they're bots, or they're just managed accounts out there purely for political messaging. Gonna ask Robert what he thinks. Robert, bringing you in. 3, 2, 1. Sir, how goes the battle?
Good.
Oh my goodness, Robert. I don't know if you're following the internet drama. What do you think of? We haven't planned. I didn't even tell you about this. What do you think of Elon Musk blocking? What's his name? James Woods. Is there truth to the argument that Elon cannot remove the block feature on an app that is available on the App Store?
Well, according to his own community notes, yes, that posted that on his tweet. But I think what Musk's goal has been all along is to convert. He's been public about this, to convert Twitter into the version of WeChat in China, which has that's why, verification is going to require you have to give your government ID, you have to give a selfie. That's coming to Twitter as well, or X is whatever it's now called. And X was his original name for a one-stop shop personal financial services back before PayPal. This is late 90s, before he hit it big the first time around. And so given before Tesla. So given all of that, it suggests that he's going to ultimately move more in that direction. And of course, there was the controversy with the CEO he brought in. I was hopeful that maybe she would support free speech, given some of her history. She hasn't, cracked down on it, but she's made public statements about de-amplifying disliked voices. And now Musk is talking about not only getting rid of the block feature, but he's also talking about adding adding an election disinformation person to the thing. So we'll see how all this translates. I've long said that I think Musk is an ally right now. Is he a reliable ally over time? There's not enough evidence to support that. So he might stay an ally, might not. That's where we've encouraged people to go to Rumble because there we know the CEO helped craft the rules that they are in the process of putting into place, and they have kept their word. They don't want to be Gab. So they're not trying to be the place where you can go to find all the kooks and haters. But the conversation is otherwise as free as it gets anywhere on the internet on Rumble, in terms of some place that's a substantial platform, that's a likable and enjoyable platform. And I mean, if you're a hater, go to Gab. They love it over there. But otherwise, the Rumble is Alex Jones has been promoted, not hindered on Rumble. The range of RT, even though the Florida senator threatened Rumble with potential retaliatory action, they refused to. They lost access to the French market rather than kick RT off the platform. So they've proven that they are committed to having as free a speech as is both desirable and achievable in the modern social media world in ways that, Elon Musk still hasn't allowed Alex Jones back on. So there was always going to be limits to how far he would really go to free speech. He's not in the money-losing business. And so we'll see.
The stupidest thing is that Elon's justification for not bringing back or allowing back on Alex Jones is totally fallacious. Elon said, I'm not going to bring anybody who uses children as political whatever back on the platform. But Jones wasn't even banned for that. He was banned for, what was it? It was something that he did off platform.
Oh, it was a complete deliberate misinterpretation that the Twitter got called out for at the time by Tim Pool on Joe Rogan's show with Jack Dorsey there. They couldn't, their explanation was a lie. So that's where I think you just put an asterisk by Musk. He's still, we'll see how much he sticks to his promise of a free and open platform. It made sense from a marketing perspective that he would promote it that way. And it makes sense given his long-term objective is to convert it into a one-stop shop financial payment provider, email provider, so, everything, and a social media platform. For him, I think from a marketing perspective, but it comes with certain limits, and he wants those advertising dollars back too. Subscription services, I think, only went so far at raising revenue. And I don't think he'll constantly bleed cash in order to make it a fully free speech public forum.
Do you think that there is legitimacy to the argument that this was done to prevent people from blocking ads? Because now that I realize, like, a lot of people in the chat.
Oh, I think that's all that. Yes, I agree with Woods. That's exactly what that's about.
Sometimes I'm just stupid. Like I don't think the next level is like, conceptually good. Don't block people. You're hindering public discourse when you prevent people's messages from being seen by your indoctrinated followers. And then I was like, oh yeah, people block ads. I only mute the ads. I don't block the ads even. All right, Robert. So what do we have on the menu before we cover a few things on both YouTube and Rumble before going over to the free speech platform? Rumble, what do we have on the menu tonight?
All right, our topics tonight, the top topic everybody voted on will be our fifth topic as usual, which is the Trump Georgia indictment. But a bonus off the top will be Michael Oher, the blindsiding that took place this week, the Hawaii fires, the Maui fires, the lawsuit concerning gun store closures, which actually is a much bigger lawsuit than people realize, the craziness in D.C. this week, which includes Hunter Biden, information from Politico and New York Times this weekend, selective enforcement before the D.C. Court of Appeals, and a January 6th sentencing case that got reversed by the D.C. Court of Appeals. Right to counsel is at issue in the Florida Trump case. Then the Trump Georgia indictment, which has many components to it, does AI have any copyright capability? That's been now adjudicated, not only by the Copyright Office, but by federal courts. What happens when your mural is considered offensive because the politics have changed like they did at Vermont Law School? Can they cover it up despite the right to protect artists' public display issues? If you defame and libel someone, can you get away with it because you can say it's part of your church? When are zoos a public nuisance? Disney sued over fraud, a different set of fraud this time. COVID lockdowns concerning schools went to federal court. And then we got a couple of bonus cases we'll likely cover over at vivabarneslaw.locals.com in the after party part of the show. The New York Times caught scamming subscribers, a couple of election law cases in Georgia and Texas. And if the rumors are true that Biden administration wants to reinstate lockdowns coming the fall, what are some of the legal remedies that can be sought at that time?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm Alex Jones has made a bold prediction, and it's a big one. And apparently, it's based on good information to Alex. We'll talk about that because I got my questions. And all right, so I'm going to say, just so everybody knows, this is the link to Locals. Link to Locals here. I'll give the link to Rumble when we end there. Robert,
and if you tip $5 or more, we will answer every single one of those on Locals.
And it's quite the fun after party. All right, now The Blind Side, Robert. I haven't seen the movie. I know roughly what it's about. It's hilarious that they're asking Sandra Bullock to return her Oscar. Okay, so apparently Michael Orr says that Michael Orr is the football player who in the movie or in real life was purported to have been adopted by the family. Nice, wonderful, feel-good story. He's recently claimed that he was actually not ever adopted, but was placed under a long-term conservatorship, or what's the word I'm looking for? Conservatorship.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on there? I'm not much more familiar with it than that. Never seen the movie, although I once upon a time loved Sandra Bullock. What's the difference? What's going on? What's the status of this recent drama?
So the movie is based on the book by Michael Lewis, which was really about left tackles protecting your blind side, in which the Michael Orr story was only a subplot. And when they decided to make it into a movie, they decided to make the subplot the whole movie. Michael Orr was a left tackle for the University of Mississippi who got drafted in the NFL draft, played, I think, for about 8 years in the NFL, made pretty good money while he was there. The book and the movie both talk about him being in a conservatorship, not being adopted. He himself in his own book referred to it as a conservatorship, not an adoption. It was when he was over 18, and it was to do with issues concerning getting admission to the University of Mississippi. There's a range of controversies there. The NCAA tried to accuse them of cheating and a bunch of other things. I followed Michael Orr's recruitment all the way back because he was a top target of Tennessee's coach Phil Fulmer at the time, who came close to getting him, but for the proximity of Ole Miss. Now, the family that let him stay at his house, let him sleep on the couch, and then gave him a room and all that jazz for, I think, at least his senior year, maybe part of his junior year as well, was the Toohey family. They are featured in the film, and the film is a feel-good movie that's about Michael Orr and about the family and about him becoming part of the family and all in his upbringing and what he had to overcome and all of that. Orr never voiced any concern or complaint at any time. You dig into the evidence in the record, the family has never asserted any control over any contract he's ever signed. In fact, he often rejected their advice for agents, rejected their advice for NFL contracts, to his detriment by his own admission, by the way. Jason Whitlock on Blaze TV does a good breakdown of this. I knew a lot of the backstory, so as soon as I saw the suit, I knew the story. The suit was garbage. Michael Orr is just a flat-out liar. He's a fraud. It's that simple. The reason why he's doing this is twofold. He's out trying to sell a book right now, raking in cash. He must have clearly blown a lot of the money he made while he's in the league, because that was millions. And the other component is that the Tooheys, a few months ago, I went public not long ago, that they sold their restaurant business for about $200 million. So the idea that the Tooheys needed money or used him for money is just ludicrous. The reality is Michael Orr came from a deeply broken background. But in his re-narration of events, he was a super genius kid who did everything on his own, who just crashed on some people's couch for a little while. And they're taking credit when he was already going to be a star. And he knew he was going to be a star because when he was 7 years old, he saw Michael Jordan play. It's literally the dumbest self-creation story of all time. He just wants all the credit and he wants all the monies. Now, the problem with the money, he claims that the Tooheys made millions of dollars. That's Michael Lewis come out and said that's completely false. That the amount of royalties was very small they ever got paid.
Royalties from the movie The Blind Side.
Yeah. Okay. And the reality is that anybody, we'll get into this later on with the Disney suit. It's very rare anybody but the studios pocket those royalties. It's been Hollywood accounting has been an ongoing. They have the most creative ways to screw people known to man. I mean, they do it again to wealthy, powerful individuals. So you can imagine they'll do it to some ordinary people. So there was no millions made. Number one. Number two, he said he received no money. Problem with that is he took any cash checks that they shared. So he's just lying about that. What he didn't know. He claims, I thought I was adopted. Well, based on what? He signed conservatorship papers. According to him, he's a genius. He didn't understand the difference. His mom was there during the whole part of the process. The movie talks about it being conservatorship. The book talks about it being conservatorship. His own book 10 years ago called it a conservatorship. But he didn't know it was a conservatorship? It's just a complete fraud. It's a complete lie. And number one. Number two, he never lost. They didn't take any money from him as part of their conservatorship. They never asserted any such control. So that's a complete lie. He filed a suit knowing that if you want to get rid of the conservatorship, court will be happy to get rid of the conservatorship. That'll be no problem. He knows he can get that legal remedy without all these other facts. What got outed is that he tried to shake down the Tuohys when he found out they made $200 million. He's like, because here's the reason why Oher was never going to challenge the movie and the book made him a ton of money, directly from royalties, because he became a hero celebrity. He became Michael Oher. That's why. Otherwise, who's going to buy his book? He was a mediocre offensive lineman in the NFL for 8 years. Who's going to buy? Nobody's going to buy his book. They buy his book because he's the guy from The Blind Side. So that's why. That's the other thing he's high. He's made millions off of being the guy that Michael Lewis featured in the book and the movie decided to make a hero out of. But he knows that the media would love to run with the story of poor black athlete taken advantage of by these mean rich white Southerners, and Hollywood just lied about all of it. And the number of people buying it is just pitiful. All you got to do is a little bit of research or just apply common sense. Even the local journalists were like, he didn't know it was a conservatorship for 20 years.
So I don't know the story. I haven't seen the movie, but how old was he when the family took him over for conservatorship? Was he a major?
18. He was already an adult.
So,
this was solely to get him into Ole Miss. His mother was there for him. There was no formalized adoption proceeding. There was no change of names. None of that. Nor, by the way, if you understood the story, knowing that he didn't want that. He never wanted that. He was happy to say he was part of after The Blind Side is when he was saying, oh, I'm part of this family because of the monetization opportunities it provided. But throughout the whole story of the book and the movies, how he kept running away from foster homes trying to find his mom. For those that don't know, his mom had like 15 kids with a bunch of different dads. She was a crack addict, and so the kids would often come home and the door would be locked. There'd be no place for them to go. They have to find some random place to go. He was never attending school regularly until he's with the Tuohys, contrary to what he's saying now. The records speak for themselves. He's admitted other contacts. He was a classic case of a very talented offensive lineman who developed. He thought he was going to be a basketball star, by the way. So, he wasn't in realistic range until late. But it was really thanks to him getting with that family that he got stabilized, got into school enough to be able to get into Ole Miss, and got the reputation within the recruiting rankings. This kid can make it. But for that, the chances are he would be another guy with a broken dream story at some local bar. But he's pretending that never would have happened because at 7 years old, he knew he was the next Michael Jordan. It's people are feeding his delusional garbage because they love the racial re-narration of the story. And it's just a complete lie. And they're attacking a family that did the right thing. And that's what you get for doing the right thing. Well, because you got somebody that's got mental and psychological issues. They'll turn on you in 5 seconds if it will line their pockets.
Well, no good deed goes unpunished. So goes the old maxim. But why would you adopt a major person anyhow? Or there's no reason
you wouldn't.
To do
the only reason to do the conservatorship was to deal with certain issues that were coming up with Ole Miss, and his mother was there part of it. That's why it's ridiculous for him to claim, "Oh, I thought I'd been legally adopted
at 18," and then they were, I presume, not contracting on his behalf, but managing his affairs to avoid catastrophe.
Yeah, that's it. It was to make sure he got into Ole Miss. And that was my recollection from the movie, from the book. And again, I followed this in live time because I was interested in the story. I was following it originally for recruiting purposes. I won't pretend I cared about Michael Oher. I cared about him being a left tackle at offensive at University of Tennessee, which he didn't do. He went down to Ole Miss. And I think he's a good player and otherwise, has led a pretty good life as far as I know otherwise. But this was a shakedown. This was an old school shakedown. It didn't work, so he went with the attack route. The Tuohys don't need the money. They never did need the money, and I think they're bothered by it. But you can only do so much with that kind of situation. But people should not be encouraging his lies. No media person's going to challenge him because, God forbid they challenge the black guy from Memphis and take the side of white people. I mean, it's just racialized garbage. And again, if people want to get into further detail, they can go watch. Jason Whitlock has multiple videos on this at Blaze, which is, I think, still available on YouTube, even though they've now blocked Glenn Beck on Apple.
Unbelievable. Well, Robert, speaking of a lying media, we'll cover this story on YouTube because it's also going to be relevant. Tomorrow's stream, two special guests. One I'll keep a little bit until I can confirm the time. But Jessica Rose, who was one of the doctors during COVID, testified during the NCI. She's got a very close connection to Hawaii, and she knows a lot of what's going on there in more detail than most journalists, but maybe not the ones who are actually down there now reporting. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Jessica Rose.
1 o'clock Eastern?
1 o'clock Eastern, yes.
So, well, I'll be on with the Duran at 1 o'clock Eastern, but you can always catch one of the other show later.
Watch the Duran live and watch mine afterwards. But
either way,
Jessica's going to come on and talk about what's going on in Hawaii because she's got a good connection there.
And then you got a big event up on Wednesday. I mean, I won't be there, but you'll be up there. Wednesday,
Robert,
remind people.
It's going to be good. It's going to be very, very fun. But speaking of lies from the media, Robert, Hawaii. Okay, it blows the mind. And I was giving Nina Turner, again, a hard time on Twitter because a lot of people are just spewing the lies. This is climate change, jumping on the climate activism bandwagon. This is like overt criminal negligence, if I'm, possibly at all levels. Apparently, from video surveillance footage right now, it looks like the fire started from downed power lines from the Hawaii Electric Company. Two of the biggest shareholders at like 8% and 11% respectively are Vanguard and BlackRock. So that's how the fire gets started because apparently the power lines are all decrepit, antiquated, and they started a fire. The government, the local government, does not sound the alarms. Their argument being, well, it's going to drive everybody up into the mountains because they think it's a tsunami, and they're going to be running right into the fires. They're a bunch of idiots like lemmings. They're going to run to their death. So they delayed sounding the alarm such that children who were home from school because of high winds, it looks like ended up burning alive in their homes. They then delayed releasing the water also for political, geological ecological considerations, and thus denied people the ability to even defend their property with water. And it's turned into an unmitigated catastrophe, which has spawned a number of, call them conspiracy theories. They might just turn out to be true. Who's going to come in to grab up this land? Is it going to be declared toxic by the government? They're going to have to expropriate it. BlackRock, Vanguard also happen to be shareholders in other companies that might have an interest in the waste. What's the question I'm going to ask to you on this? The first question. People are like, why would they lie? Why would the government lie? Why would the media lie to protect, a corporation which has its two biggest shareholders in this company? I'm not connecting dots that don't exist. Preserving shareholder value might mean minimizing liability, responsibility from the company they own for having caused these fires. That's not a stretch.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. You have it took a sequence of people not doing their job for this to be the degree of disaster that it was. The power line people, both in creating risky power lines and then not shutting the power off, the people not sounding the sirens. If they thought, did they think that no fires could ever happen in Hawaii? I mean, otherwise, why weren't the sirens? You have one siren for a tsunami, a different siren for fire alarm. I mean, how hard is that to have in that community? And then you have, Mr. Equity running the water issues, right? And a guy that's all about, now you dig in, his equity tends to favor people with big pockets. But he said that, his role in how water gets allocated was going to be shaped by who fit the right demographic qualities on the intersectional pyramid. And so you have a lot of government people, corporate people implemented or incriminated by all of this. And so it's no surprise that the politicians engaged in a blackout of media coverage that's still going on to some degree to this day in terms of direct access to the facilities, deliberate misrepresentations about the number of deaths and injuries right out of the gate. I mean, people are having to, and in my view, at least from the severity of the situation in terms of negligence and dereliction of the government, it's worse than New Orleans. I mean, Biden's reaction is worse than Bush's reaction to New Orleans. Yet the media went absolutely berserk about New Orleans. Remember, they attacked Trump about Puerto Rico.
No. Who was it? Was it Kanye West who came out and said Bush doesn't care about black people? Was it?
Yeah,
was it
that was to raise money for New Orleans. I mean, they made movies and documentaries about New Orleans, and yet now the media is totally mute. I mean, they've just become a complete crock. I mean, they're just partisan hacks now. They don't care about the First Amendment. They cover up for the Democrats. They attack Republicans. That's it. They lie for Democrats, and they lie against Republicans. I mean, they're just a partisan part of the machine now. They're indistinguishable from state propaganda. Except the only difference is most people knew the state propaganda was garbage in those countries. There's still many people that don't know that about America's media. And so there's clearly a lot of people that can be sued. And, whether there's other nefarious routes, I mean, Robert Malone is there. Brett Weinstein is going to be there. They're talking to people that are talking about the nature of the arson appearing to look deliberate, not accidental. What some of the motivations of that might have been. I mean, remember we had that big, all those climate change fires, a bunch of them in California. They figured out it was a guy who lit them. Had nothing to do with climate change. And what were they blaming right away in Hawaii?
Climate crisis. I mean, Nina Turner was still spouting that lie as of last week. Yeah. I mean, then they have the climate crisis in Yellowknife, where I believe there's a couple of suspected arson. Then you had suspected arson in Quebec with those wildfires. It's a crazy thing where the catastrophe becomes the catalyst for expanding government power. And so it's not only they have no incentive to tell the truth when they are actually negligently responsible for it, when they can weaponize it for policy to enhance their own powers, it's a double whammy.
Oh, completely. So it will definitely not be the last we've heard in the law about what happened in Maui.
And what as far as you're hearing, I'm hearing that the death toll is closer to 1,000 than 111.
Yeah. There are people on our board that live there that were telling us that right away. Yeah. That's more likely the real count. And that was back when the media and the government was saying 80 or 90.
Well, that's it. Take your pick tomorrow between Barnes and I. We're going to be live at the same time, but that's the okay. Robert, let's head on over to Rumble as I pull the...
Yeah, we got gun store closures, Hunter Biden, Trump indictment, deprivation of counsel, AI copyrights, trans and girl sports, offensive murals, zoos as nuisances, Disney sued. So a lot of topics that YouTube discourages and disfavors.
And it'll be on YouTube anyhow tomorrow, just not live. So you'll get it there, people. I was going to say something. Can't wait to talk about the Hunter Biden, Trump, Georgia stuff. It's over the top. Everyone, get all your butts over there. 3,300 going down, coming over to Rumble, ending on YouTube in 5, 4, 3.